Hello everyone. Today I am doing our Family Friday video a little bit off location because I had some different things to do today, but I'm glad that you're joining us today. As you probably know by now, my name is Chase. I'm the pastor at First Baptist Church in Bonham, Texas. If this is your first time with us, we're glad that you're here with us as well. If you will, do me a favor. You can share this video whether you're watching it live right now or whether you watch it later. And this just helps us reach a bigger audience and get our content out to more people. So I hope that you'll do that. You can also interact with us through the comments. And so just below your feed there should be a little box or something that you can use to type comments in. You can also leave comments later if you're watching the video at a different time just below the video, and we love to see those and try to interact with those as well. So today on our Family Friday discussion, I'm going to talk to you about not judging your life by Facebook. So perhaps, especially around this time of year at holiday time, we're looking at Facebook, or maybe it's Instagram or Twitter or some other social media, and all of a sudden we think, why isn't my life like that person's life? Why is their life so picture perfect? What am I doing wrong? I work hard at loving my spouse and working my job and raising my kids, and I deserve a life like that too. And this actually has a name. It's been given a name by psychologists of Facebook jealousy, right? Where we see the fun adventures, the romances, the perfect husbands and wives, the amazing jobs, loving families, the great vacations that other people take, and we think, why isn't my life like this? And in fact, jealousy, of course, is not new. It didn't come out with Facebook or any other social media. It's as old as time in that sense. As soon as man sinned, right, jealousy entered into the picture. But I do think there's something about social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and others that tends to keep the idea of comparison and jealousy and envy in front of us in a way that perhaps we haven't always experienced. And so it is the case that I think the internet and social media has intensified the opportunity for temptation when it comes to comparing ourselves to other people and becoming envious of what they have and what we don't have. And so this is not a new problem, but it is a problem I think can be intensified in our digital age. So I want to give you a few key ideas here about Facebook jealousy, or social media jealousy, and then give you a few action steps about how we can conquer it, especially at this time when the holidays are coming, and we do see a lot of pictures posted or videos posted, and we are tempted to think, man, why don't I have what they have? So the first thing is this: there is a distinct danger that comes in the comparison game, and it usually tends towards one of two things. The first of which is apathy or idleness. I look at somebody else's life and I think, I can never be like that. I can never do that. I don't have, the body they have. I don't have the time they have. I don't have the means that they have. I don't have the job that they have. And so I might as well just give up. I can never attain and reach that level of, perfect humanity and what it means to enjoy this life. And so we become despairing and we think, when I compare myself to them, I just can't do it. So this is like the person that looks at another, a fit person that maybe they see the front of a magazine where a lady or a guy they have the perfect body and whatnot, and they think, and I can never be like that. So then they go and buy the candy bar off the shelf at the store, because why even try? The other side of the coin, though, is what we might call performance, where we look at that and we think, I'm going to do everything I can to get to that, not realizing that maybe that is not the highest pinnacle of life. Maybe it's not the best job or the picture-perfect family. Maybe those aren't, one, real, and two, even if they are real, maybe they're not what I should spend my life pursuing. And so this is the idea of keeping up with the Joneses, of overactivity. And so the danger of comparison usually lies in one of these two areas. Either I begin to think, oh, well, life's not worth living, or I just can never do that, so I'm not going to pursue it at all, and we become idle and passive. Or the overactivity side, where I try so hard to pursue something, never questioning whether that thing ought to be pursued, and even if it should be, to the level at which it would require to reach it. So that's the first idea. There's a danger that comes with comparison. The second thing is this: that Facebook is a fiction, okay? In many ways, Facebook is a lie, okay? Now, I don't mean that it's the kind of lie where people intentionally go on Facebook and try to, they're trying to make you feel bad or trying to give you a false sense or anything. Although I think sometimes that is the case. There are some people that use social media in that way to try to create a false sense of what it is. In fact, I think this is one of the key dangers of online dating or friendships that are only online and things like this. That's one of the reasons why I think we have to protect our kids, because it's very easy to create a persona or a background, a history online, and only show certain things and manipulate people. But I don't think most people use Facebook or social media in this way. But even still, Facebook is a fiction, right? It's necessarily distorted because it's selective, okay? The mere exclusion of some things rather than other things means that we don't get the entire picture, okay? It's kind of like when you go to take pictures of your kids with Santa, if you do that, and the photographer snaps a picture and they get just the perfect one where your kid is smiling and talking to Santa, but they didn't show the other 50 pictures where your kid is screaming, where they got snot coming out their nose, where their hair is all messed up, where they didn't want to go and talk to Santa, right? If you only saw that one picture of the smiling kid with Santa where they're all happy that happened for one quick second, then you're going to assume that it was a much better experience than it actually was. But if you were there and you knew the difficulty that was present, then you might not be so quick to assume that everything was just fine. So Facebook, by its very nature, is selective, and because it's selective, it is distorted. It's sort of like the mirror at a fun house at a carnival, right? When you go and look at the mirror at the fun house at the carnival, it's all wavy and funky, and it highlights certain things and minimizes others. And so the picture that you get in it, even though it's a mirror, is distorted. It's not exactly clear. It's not like the mirror at your house that shows you everything in it. And so Facebook, we have to appreciate this reality that Facebook, because it is edited and because it is selective, it is distorted in some way or the other. And so nobody's life is as perfect as it seems on Facebook. It's not true. Even the best intentioned of us that are just trying to celebrate something, some major event or something we're excited about, that even though that's not meant to give the wrong impression, sometimes we can assume that that's the entirety of the picture, and it's simply not. People just rarely post the dull, boring, gory parts of life. In fact, I had a grandmother that would often say, take pictures of your kids crying, which seemed like a really strange thing to say, but it's the idea that, right, you're going to tend to be selective even in your own memory of things, which is why we tend to long for yesterday and not live in today, because we think yesterday was better than today, even though it really wasn't. Even our own memories are selective in this way. And so people rarely publish the dull, boring, difficult parts of life. So just remember that Facebook in a lot of ways is a fiction. So let me give you a few action steps here. I'm going to try to go from the immediate to a larger picture kind of idea about how we can combat and overcome this idea of social media jealousy. Number one thing is to bring yourself back to reality. Whenever you're looking at your news feed and you see that picture perfect snapshot of someone else's life and you're tempted to think, man, why isn't my life like that? Bring yourself back to this reality. Tell yourself, their life probably isn't as perfect as it seems in this picture. And two, my life is probably not as bad as I feel like it is right now. And so I have to bring back that reality and tell myself what is the truth, right? That realize that Facebook is only a small sliver of life, and that in all likelihood, their life is just as difficult at times, and my life is just as perfect at times as theirs is. So what this allows me to do is it allows me to genuinely congratulate them on something good that's going on, and to appreciate how God's blessing them, but also bring it back to where's my life as well? What has God given me? So the second step is this: be involved in community. One of the things about online interaction is that it has a great potential to connect us with people who are far away. It gives us a chance to share things with people that are not a part of our local context. This is one of the ways that we use Facebook. We show pictures to our families because they live in Georgia or in North Carolina while we live in Texas, and so we get to share things with them that we might not normally get to share, and with other friends and family as well. But one of the detriments, as I said, of Facebook is that it can be used in a way that only shows a small picture of life, and whereas real community of lived in face-to-face community allows me to actually see the ups and downs of life, to see people in much more detail than I would in an online context, right? And certainly we can still hide things from people when we're face to face with them, but it's much harder if we really develop genuine community where we're trying to share life with other people, to miss both sides of the coin, to see that there are goods and bads, difficulties and delights. And so in all these things, being in community allows me to see life in a much more full-fledged way than I would have if I only saw it through a TV screen or online or something like this. The third action step is this: I may need to turn it off. Okay, if it's a really difficult thing for me to look at Facebook or social media and not have those thoughts, those temptations of jealousy and envy and despair and comparison, then it may mean that I really need to turn it off. Now, it may not mean I have to turn it off altogether. Maybe I'm looking at Facebook for 2-3 hours a day, and I realize that, and I'm like, I need to pare this down. Maybe I'm only going to look at Facebook for 30 minutes a day or something like that. Or it really could mean that I just have to turn it off altogether if it's that big of a deal, if it's that besetting to my heart. It's like Jesus says, right? If your hand causes you to stumble, to sin, cut it off. Now, of course, he doesn't seriously mean to cut it off. He's talking about that sin is serious and we must deal with it in whatever way that's necessary in order to not be beset by it, to find through his grace to conquer it and kill it. The fourth thing is this: I need to remember that everybody has everything that they have by God's grace. So I have nothing that I have not first received, and they don't have anything that they have first not received. So really, when I compare my life and I become envious of their life, and I think, why isn't my life like that? What I'm really doing is telling God that somehow you messed up, God. I don't have what I deserve. And so this brings me back to the gospel and helps me to see that envy really is a very affront to God's goodness, and that somehow I've insinuated that because my life is not like I would have it to be, or like I want it to be, or it's not like what I think it should be, that somehow God is messed up. When in reality, my life is infinitely better than it deserves to be, because what I deserved was death. What I deserved was eternal punishment in hell. Instead, what I can have in Christ is actually life and happiness and a future that actually is picture perfect, that actually is everything that I could imagine and more. And so what comparison and envy and jealousy lead me back to, or should lead me back to, is the gospel. That it's not those people that are the problem, it's my own heart that's the problem. And so what I need to do is to focus on what God has given in Christ, and then beyond that. And so this leads me to gratitude, right? As we talked about a couple weeks ago, that gratitude is something built, and that I can think about what has God given and what do I do to thank him for what he's given. The last thing is this: use jealousy to root out other sins in my heart. So it brings me back to the gospel and builds gratitude, but it also gives me an opportunity to reflect on what's there. Do I desire things that I shouldn't desire? Or do I desire them in a way that elevates them to the level of an idol? Are the goals in my life right? Am I pursuing the things that I should? Maybe making the most money and having the perfect car or the great phone or whatever, maybe that's not really the highest thing in life, and maybe I should be content with what I have, and I may actually have the greater thing. And what this other person has in their picture perfect life may not be what really is what I should pursue. Of course, the other possible thing is this, and I'm going to conclude with this. It is possible to look at Facebook or social media and develop, instead of despair, I develop superiority, where I think, man, look, my life is so much better than those people's lives. I've got this and that and the third thing, and I forget again that I have nothing that I have not first received, and I begin to think that I that I am better than somebody else because my life is everything that I thought it would be, or pretty much everything I thought it would be. And so the danger of comparison is not merely to try to pursue what I don't have, but it may be in thinking that somehow I'm better than I am and I'm superior. So in all these ways, right, social media, Facebook, all these things are powerful tools in the hands of a redeemed heart, but they can be detriments if we allow sin to corrupt and use them against us. And so we need to pray certainly for God's grace that we might repent and follow hard after Him and use what He provides in a way that pleases and glorifies Him. All right, well, I want to thank you so much for watching today. Don't forget to share our feed if you can. If you haven't been coming to church with us and you don't have a church, I hope that you'll visit us this Sunday. We have Sunday school at 9:30, and we have corporate worship at 10:45. We're celebrating Advent right now, so you can come and see about the joy and the love, the peace, and the hope that comes from Christmas. And so I hope you'll join us this Sunday at 10:45. Again, feel free to comment or contact us if you'd like to know anything about the church, or you can visit our website at fbcbonham.com. Thanks again for watching, and hope to see you again next week.